Greetings wrestling fans, it's me, Simon from WhatCulture, and you're about to experience the ride of your life as we take our thoughts from Raw, throw them in a jar, shake it around, and then just pour them all out over a table. Or something a bit more normal than that. But, based as per usual on the article by Scott Coulson that you can read over on WhatCulture.com right now, it's this week's Ups and Downs where we give an uplifting up to anything on Raw that pleased us and a devastating down for anything that made us cry. And it's alright to cry at pro wrestling. Anyway, enough waffling, let's up those downs. Let's start with my favourite thing on Raw over the last few weeks, squash matches. Someone backstage at WWE definitely knows what they're doing with these, because this week, a small change made all the difference. And what was that change? The jobber had an entrance. So not only did this make it different from the past 2 weeks, but Jordell Nelson, or whatever his name is, actually could walk to the ring looking like a terrified schmo. Unsurprisingly, he had his ass handed to him in the match against Braun Strowman, and the power of the squash continues. That is an up. A minor down this, but one that I think is worth mentioning. When Seth Rollins declared to the world that Finn Balor's name wasn't actually Finn Balor, millions of eyebrows simultaneously raised. For one, Rollins never actually said what Finn Balor's real name is, and it's Fergal Devitt in case you're interested. But Seth, your real name isn't Seth Rollins, and neither is it Tyler Black, which you used to go by. It's Colby Lopez, stones in glass houses and all that. Although to be fair, him saying that he should just call himself Rambo Apocalypse did make me laugh, because I have a terrible sense of humour. Everything that went down between Enzo and Cass and Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens was just one big fat up. For starters, they're all gold on the mic, and I include Big Cass in that as well. He's not as good as the other three, but he more than holds his own, and the whole interaction between all four was just a lot of fun. On top of that, the match between Jericho and Enzo ticked all the boxes. Sure, it started off a little bit ropey, but once it settled down and found rhythm, not only was it good, but it set up a great match for SummerSlam. Wonderful. Okay, so last week Cesaro won a match against Sheamus, which we assumed impressed GM Mick Foley, and he was going to get a title shot at some point in the future. And then on this week's Raw, Cesaro faced Sheamus, and he definitely did impress General Manager Mick Foley because he got a US title shot at the end of the show. Then he lost. And Roman Reigns came out and basically said, nah mate, I'm the actual #1 contender for the US Championship because I pushed Lana into a cake earlier. Right. I've got no problem with the Reigns-Rusev feud, as long as Rusev wins, damn it. But how this serves Cesaro, I don't know. I mean, he didn't lose clean because Sheamus kept interfering, but that says to me we're just going to get another match with those two at SummerSlam, probably during the kickoff show. How does that help anybody? It's a down. Following on from that, another down came in the form of why Sheamus and Cesaro had another match on this Raw to begin with. Because now, Mick Foley wants to see physical dominance. Even though 7 days ago, Cesaro beat Sheamus clean in the middle of the ring with his finisher. I mean, it's pretty physical, it's pretty dominant. Wins just don't matter anymore. Just be physically dominant. But who else assumed that Cesaro was done for as soon as the match was announced? Because, you know, 50-50 booking. So Cesaro got his win last week, so surely Sheamus has to get his win back this week. If you were asked to bet on things prior to the match, that is undoubtedly what you would have predicted to happen. But it didn't, and Cesaro proved himself to be the dominant force. So there it is, the ending of the first ever triple header on Ups and Downs, where I just focused on one thing for three different ups and downs. Let's move on. Please do more Brock Lesnar promo skits when he's got a match coming up. They're always gold, they're always entertaining, and they're always an up. It was no different this week when the Lesnar-Orton feud was pushed forward thanks to a vignette package that was a delight to watch. Brock dumped all over Randy, Randy dumped all over Brock, and by the end of it, you just wanted to see the two kill each other. Brock's constant cursing and running down of his opponents is just awesome to watch. It's like he doesn't care. Because he doesn't. And it makes for great TV too. Gallows and Anderson losing so quickly to the New Day last week was a very sad occasion. Thankfully this week, things took a turn for the better. Ditching their mean guy act in favour of a bit of comedy, they became Dr. Gallows and Dr. Anderson, and warned us of the dangers of ring postitis after they ruined Big E last week. It certainly wasn't the highlight of Raw, but it allowed these two to showcase their talents a bit and hopefully sets them up for the championship win at SummerSlam. I hold no ill will towards the New Day, but Gallows and Anderson need to win that match and they need to win those titles. This was an up. I'm a Darren Young and Bob Backlund fan. This you know. With that said, I'm not sure this feud with Titus O'Neil is the best direction to be going in. It's strange too, because both men are actually pretty good. But Darren rolling up Titus to get his win back, meaning the two now share tainted victories, didn't do anything for either of them. There's a whole history here we could be jumping into for the story. The primetime players, for example, but instead we've got kind of nothingness just being eked out. It certainly seems like we'll get the rubber match at SummerSlam, and that could still be pretty decent, but this whole thing kind of feels a bit wasted. So down. Puff Daddy wasn't on Raw that much. He did some kind of funny skit with the New Day, and that was it. Given how bad some guest appearances have been in the past, I'll take it. At worst I thought we'd get a concert, and at best I thought Kevin Owens would come out and throw him off the stage. This was somewhere in the middle of that, so trust me, let's give it an up. And that was Raw. I refuse to give the Rusev-Lana wedding stuff either an up or a down, because right now, I'm not sure how I feel about it. The crowd obviously didn't buy into it, but given that Rusev is the greatest man to ever walk this earth, I'm not going to take shots at him. So there. It was a decent enough show though, and keeps WWE on a positive course ever since the brand split actually happened. New pairings, new feuds, new lease of life. 3 hours still feels like a very long time, but right now, it feels shorter than it did. Now go check out Scott's article on WhatCulture.com for even more Raw reactions, and make sure you tune in tomorrow for Jack's SmackDown up and downs. And from what I saw last week, he tried to hire his own GM, basically based on what their last name was. Well, two can do that, Jack. So watch this space. So now don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and make sure you leave a comment below so we know what you thought of last night's Raw. I'm Simon from WhatCulture. Now come follow me on Twitter at SimonMiller316. It's a wondrous and magical place. It's really not.
Were you one of the unlucky few who couldn't get tickets for July's WCPW tapings? Well, make sure you pick up tickets for August, as they're already extremely limited. On August 24th, we'll be presenting a special live pay-per-view quality show, WCPW Stacked, featuring Moose versus Joe Coffey, the debut of the Women's Championship, Will Ospreay versus Marty Scurll. The WCPW Championship will be on the line. There'll be Joe Hendry, Joseph Connors, Big Damo, El Ligero, Primate, Grado, Drew Galloway, EC3, and GM'd by Eric Bischoff. Not just that, but on the 25th, we'll also be holding loaded tapings featuring the Kurt Angle Invitational, a pinfall and submission elimination rumble to decide who gets to face the Olympic hero in October. Grab your tickets for August at wc.pw while you still can. The 2 days are looking absolutely stacked.